Hi, I'm Eric with Leadership Developed. This week on our YouTube series, we're going to talk about books that impacted my leadership. But first, I need your help. Give me a like and a subscribe. Create the audience, create the demand so we can bring on quality people to help us out. So this week, I want to talk about this book that had a great impact on me as I was moving from being a manager to a leader of multiple departments. And this book is by Jim Collins called Good to Great. And in this book, it has such great tidbits of information that helped me become more agile, more successful in creating an organization that was going to exceed all expectations. This book was introduced to me by one of my mentors who quoted this book a lot when he was moving up into positions of responsibility that had multiple departments and had over 500 people underneath him. And here's some takeaways that I took from this book, Good to Great. First thing is that the ego destroys your leadership ability. And Jim Collins writes in here about how the ego of these celebrity leaders actually become very ineffective. Once these people become celebrities, they're no longer doing their job as a leader. They've lost the attention to take care of the people that are following them because they are always in the face of talking about their story. When you're leading, that is an action. That is taking care of the people that want to be part of your organization. I get that. That makes sense to me. When you make decisions as a leader, are you making decisions that's good for the organization, or are you making decisions that's good for your image? I had a boss's boss that was big ego, and the best thing I could do with that guy was manipulate that ego. He was an ineffective leader. His ability to make decisions was always impacted about how does it make him look. And me knowing that, I took advantage of that. And I manipulated that guy like a puppeteer. I did not do anything for our relationship as he did not evaluate me well. But at the same time, I was able to take care of my people, get the results we needed, and become the best organization that the Marine Corps could get. And the second takeaway is that the legacy is greater than any single person. Jim Collins writes about these great companies had CEOs that are not household names. Why? Because they thought that the legacy of the organization was so important to be placed behind the leader himself. The leader also had to make sure that the people were taken care of within this legacy. Here's an example of this. My squadron that I was a part of was called the Purple Foxes. Well, we called ourselves the world famous Purple Foxes. And the Foxes had a legacy from Vietnam all the way through the global war on terrorism. Their legacy was built upon their actions of what they did in the casualty evacuation role. What we were able to do and participate in is go into a battlefield with our helicopters and pull out those severely wounded to save their lives. This started back in Vietnam under Colonel Brady, we call Papa Fox. And he was able to take this squadron of defunct and misfit pilots and be able to create this organization that would be able to save lives. And in doing so, it created a legacy of give a shit. And this motto sticks with us forever. In fact, the power of the motto is what helped me as a leader within that organization to get buy-in from the people. The legacy of the Purple Foxes is greater than myself. It's greater than any of the commanding officers that ever served in it. Greater than any of the great pilots that have won awards through it. The Purple Fox legacy was greater than any single person because collectively all of us contributed to the significance of that legacy. The third takeaway is facing the brutal facts. You see, if you don't know what you're dealing with, if you cannot pinpoint what the problem is, how can you solve it? How do you overcome something? for myself, it was always about what is the problem. We do things we would call problem framing, or an impression of the mess. And that's what mostly it is looking at the mess and going, okay, what is the problems and what can we fix? And once you list those things all out, now you have identified a target. And within those targets, you can figure out how to prioritize which needs to be fixed first and get them corrected as needed. The fourth takeaway was the succession plan. Jim Collins continually talked about these leaders who are always developing the next person. Who's going to step up next? And not only step up next in their organization, but other people that are within the organization as they're growing, they're going to step up next for other organizations outside, because there's only so many seats, correct? But if he created a population of quality leaders, he knew that he could help those individuals go on to greater places of responsibility, even if it's not within his own organization. As a young Marine in the infantry, I had a Gunnery Sergeant Terry, who was big about, Eric, who's taking over when you're gone? And I'm like, when I'm gone, I just took over this job. I just got this job. I've been working my butt off to get this position. And he was like, I understand that, but you're going to go on to greater things. You're going to become an officer. You're going to be a pilot. You need to take care of this organization by creating a succession plan, by training who you have up next. And don't just train one, because sometimes those guys get better opportunities than we can provide. Create a succession plan where you have multiple people ready to be able to step up. So this book, Good to Great, you can tell how significant it was to me. And it's only the beginning of my whole learning and growing as a leader. And I still am growing as a leader. And I want to share this with you guys. So, to continue this series, please give me a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to this YouTube series to allow us to be able to get quality guests on here, to have quality conversations. And it's about you. It's about creating a legacy of creating better leaders, because the people are tired of crappy bosses. It's time to give them what they need to be successful, for our country to be successful, and for our world to be better. I'm Eric Landblom. It was great talking to you.